Alright guys, got another training game up with chessnoobash, who did one with just a few days ago. Ash is rated 1286 in Rapid, this is unrated 15 plus 10, and we've got e4. So I'm going to play a French defence, because I've not done it in a while. Okay, now d5. You could take, which is the exchange variation. You could push on to e5, which is the advanced variation. Or this is normal. Okie coke. So c5 now is typical continuation because I'm putting an attacker on there. And it's not great for white to capture outwards either, because then that gives me free development of my bishop. And if I capture towards the centre, queen comes out, then I've got the pawn majority in the centre, and plus I get to play knight c6 with tempo, kick the queen away. So this causes white somewhat of a problem. See, because white's put the knight on c3, which is very typical, he can't now play pawn to c3 to defend that way. So whatever happens, basically, I'm going to get to mess up white's central majority, which I like to do. It's a good thing. And I do find I win a lot of games, or have won a lot of games in the French, because I've not been playing it recently, by having a central majority that I then just push on forwards and win that way. So when you get to be more familiar and intimate with a particular opening, then you can start to anticipate the likely endgames. Now, in the French, my light squared bishop is pants. So I'm going to try and swap off my light squared bishop now. It's very often just one of your general kind of long-term strategic ideas. Get rid of your light squared bishop. If you can trade it for white's, so much the better, because white's light squared bishop actually has a lot more scope, doesn't it, than ours. Ours is stuck behind this pawn wall, and all it's got is this direction, which, and you know, the king's going to end up over there. It's just not fantastic. So now if Ash trades light squared bishops, could recapture with the queen would be all right. Could recapture with the knight with ideas about bringing my queen out this way. Sometimes you'll put your queen on b6. If this bishop ever stops defending b2, then queen b6 is a thing, because this pawn will be undefended should this bishop ever come out into the board. So move you see in a bunch of other openings as well. Okay, so he's taken. So what do we recapture with? King, queen, knight. Options, options. King is not even a stupid idea. The knight could come to here, queen comes out, king's quite safe in the middle. You don't always have to castle. But what's best? I take with the knight. Just getting the knight off there, opening up the rook. So it's just listing little positives, and little positives can add. Oh, yeah, I didn't see that one, did I? Well done, Ash. Okay. Okay now. So if I take back, he's got knight takes. If I take here, draw his queen out into the board. I then have bishop here. I like that. I like that. We've got ideas. We have plans. See, bishop here is defended by the knight. If the queen takes here, bishop here, and I've definitely improved my bishop. Free development. Depends where the queen then goes. Might be able to develop a knight or move one of my knights with tempo if the queen goes onto a light square. So this is what I'm anticipating. I'm threatening the knight. You're going to have to do something. If the knight moves, I can just push e5, and I've got a very good centre. So I think he's going to have to take. Can't really see another way round. Yeah. Now I'm going to play this. Just sanity check. Ha ha ha. Righty. So that's not such a smart idea. So should I develop this knight first? Then with ideas of this. Now you might even push this, but that's okay. If he takes on e6, he's a pawn up now. I've still got this idea. But he's done well there to see that. Let's just go back. What was the mistake I made? The mistake I made was, well, for one thing, okay, let's just check this, right? After the bishop took here, in fact, even before then, this pawn was attacked twice and defended only once because I'd blocked there, you see. Now, if queen had taken there, then I have two defenders still on there. Right, now he's pinned my knight. I'm not too concerned. I'm going to attack the queen anyway. And then I may be able to get to push this. And I'll be a pawn down, but with arguably a development lead. I've got 1, 2, 3 minor pieces out. White has 2 minor pieces out, but also the queen. Now the queen, you have to say, is it an advantage to have the queen out on the board? Well, very often it isn't, because the queen can get booted around. Oh. I'm not sure about that idea. Okay, let's think this through. Right, Ash has just taken my knight. So Ash is up a knight and a pawn right now. Now if I take the queen, bishop takes queen, ain't gonna happen. I take the queen, bishop takes queen. I take knight with check. He has to recapture and I win a bishop. I think I'm going to win a piece that way. I think I win a piece. Right, I'm down a piece. Okay, check. There. Bang. Yep. Okay. So Ash made that move in 24.9 seconds. Which is quick for a 15 plus 10. Think about your... Okay, but now here, this is the difference. I get to capture again with check. And then I get to take the bishop, you see. That's the problem. Okay, and now I've regained my missing minor piece. I'm thinking rook takes. It's an open file from my side of the board. Pawn takes, then I can castle. Put my rook onto semi-open f. I'm still down a pawn. Hang on, wasn't I just down a pawn before? Okay, hang on. He took. Oh! No, so I've miscounted. Here. Takes minor, takes queen. Right, my minor piece down. I get that, and my minor piece down. Okay. However, my opponent now has double pawns on the c file, isolated a pawn. I think he should, yeah, I think he should take there. And I have to capture, really. So I'm going to castle, get my rook onto the semi-open f file. That's no bad thing. I have a more active rook here. I have a more active knight. This rook is still in bed, this one is still in bed. So now I'm going to castle for no other reason than to activate my rook. Getting my king to safety is not such a big deal. The king would be perfectly happy on e7, probably. So do I actually, that's a good question actually, do I want to castle? Or just rook f8? Knight can't go there. I could play a prophylactic move and just try and keep the knight out a little bit. The question now is, I'm a pawn down, how do I win? If I attack this pawn, what's he got? Knight can't defend it, rook can't defend it. The only way of defending it is king d2. Okay, so Ash has played rook b1 looking at this pawn. I think this is just a very simple defensive move. Also, notice that if I play rook c8 and attack... Oh, he's now got this idea. Right? But I've got rook here. Let's say king there, knight there, check. Also attacks the pawn a second time. So he has to defend with the rook now, doesn't he? Then this is the question. See, castling puts my rook straight on f8. I could just play rook f8 and leave my king in the middle on the back rank. It's not critical. His biggest problem is this rook that he can't get out. Quite like this as well, because also if the king moves this way to defend this pawn, yeah, I'd have a discovery. So now I attack the pawn, he's got this idea. Because then I can play knight there and win this pawn, can't I? So rook here. Let's think it through. Rook here, he's got that. Knight here, same. I'm going to play the knight. I just feel like I need to keep my king central. I don't really want to put him on g8. So that's what I'm thinking now. Also have this idea. And I need to use my time, because I'm still a pawn down. Okay, but this now drops a pawn, you see, so I come here with double check and win this pawn. Even if king goes there, I've got rook here. Or is there anything eviler than that? What about this pawn here? If I go for this one, he moves, say, oh, he can't go there. He has to go here. Then I win the pawn with check. I think either way is fine. I'm going to take out the one that's part of a trio and then try and give him separated, isolated pawns here. So he can't go back there now. He can't stay on here. He's got 3 options because he's in double check. This is double check. I don't think he'd go here. I think he's more likely to move onto the e file. If he goes here, this comes with check again. If he comes here, do I have to be careful about getting my knight trapped? There? Not really, I don't think. I can always play my rook over. Also, remember, if I delete this pawn, then this knight becomes undefended. Gosh! Oh really, O'Reilly? Would you look at that? Right, now, I've got an option of throwing in an extra bonus check. In which case, he's got 3 squares on the b file where he comes back here. I'm going to throw in the bonus check. Also attacking this pawn as well, but I want to take this one, for sure. Probably come back here. Centralise the knight. You know, Ash is nearly 1300 rated. I shouldn't be surprised that he's spotting good tactics and stuff like that. Okay, I think I can do this now. If the king starts to approach, I've got this, giving my knight a safe square. If that's okay, oh, he can win a pawn back, can't he? Come on, Hunty. Let's throw in another check. That was silly. Didn't see that one. Definitely not on absolute top form right now. Actually, That was ridiculous, because now I've let the king guard this square. And now I have left my own knight trapped like a wally. That was ridiculous. That was stupid. That check was digging my own grave. What I should have done is just got the knight out the hell out of dodge, right? Give up the pawn. But with this, I've just prompted him to cover my escape square. You dickhead. So, yeah, my opponent has just played very well. He's soaked up the pressure. He's given it straight back. What can I do here? I mean, there's weak pawns. I can attack these pawns. I can attack the knight a bit. I'm going to have my work cut out, aren't I, in this game now? If he's got a knight roaming around the board. Knights in the endgame can be very, very tricky. Knights in the centre can control 8 squares that I don't have a way to counter. That's very unpleasant. That was a real blunder, that was. No need for that whatsoever. You know, if I do that, I should say, okay, what is my opponent's best move? And any of these guards this square. Utterly ridiculous. Okay, so I've just pushed that pawn to defend it. He's going to take my knight. Now what should my plan be? Probably centralise my other rook. Yep. I do have a time advantage, but that's only because I should have used my time more sensibly. Probably want to play king e7. Rook here is safe enough. Can't get my rook to the 7th rank. How about this? Okay, he's going after my pawn. Oh, he's going after 2 pawns. He's playing too well, this bugger. I can defend that, or I can defend that with my king. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, prompt him to take that, and then I need to move that rook, but I might be able to pin the knight then because it's in front of the king. But let's see if he spots it. He has then got knight. No, he hasn't, because I just take it. Okay, so if he takes here, I'm going to play this. Now we just have to resort to trickery and evil doings. Nothing else for it. Opponent's on 6.5 minutes. He's perfectly talented enough to get the job done. He's +3. He's up a whole knight. Got 5 pawns each. My structure is better because I have 3 pawn islands. He has 4. Okay, and now I need to move this. I'm going to move it here. He can attack another rook. He can attack that rook if he wants. I can counter that with a check. Now it's all just down to evilest tactics. He can't go there because I take. He could go there. So he should be conscious of this. At 1286, he should be thinking, I spot a potential pin. Now if the king goes here, it's no good because I've got to lift my rook, kick the king away, win the knight back. And then we're back in the game. Okay, well here's another idea then. Is he thinking of this? Is that the idea? He's luring me into a pin, then this, and the knight moves away, and the rooks are facing off, and he's going to force an exchange. I think that's his plan. How about this then, instead? I'm not really worried about checks, but this pawn now hangs. If the rook comes back to defend, I do have this, but then I no longer have that. Oh, I've got 2 attackers on this pawn as well, but I absolutely do not want to be trading off one of my rooks just for 1 pawn when I'm 4 down. This pins the knight, and I can attack the knight with my king. Okay, so now, now he's thinking about a discovered check. This is sneaky. Right, if I check him there, he's got to move onto the d file. And he would move here to attack my rook. So this, for example, wins my rook. There, knight moves, there. Hang on. There, knight moves here with check, there. Then he takes and trades off. Right, I'm going to have to come here. He's kept his head on his shoulders, hasn't he, in this game? Okay, here. He's got a check as well. That drops the knight. Here, forces the king away. So he can't go there because I take the rook. So if here he has the king here or king here, I take the rook, king takes, I kick the king away, maybe win the knight. I really do want to complicate things if I can. He can't go check there because rook takes. He can't go check there, not there, there because pawn takes. If he goes here, takes, check. King has to retreat, I win the knight. There, he's in check, he can't go there and he can't stay on here. He's going to go here, but it doesn't matter because I win the knight. Back. And we are going to be in a pretty equal ending. 4 pawns against 5, but my pawns are 2 pairs, which is very much more preferable. He's got 4 different pawn islands, all isolated. Okay, we take the knight. That was my only hope to get back into this game, was some kind of tactical outmaneuvering. Okay, now I kind of fancy my position. I've got 10 minutes. Ash is on 4-15. He said, nice move. But you know what? Was that a tricky one? Was that a tricky one? But I'd worked it out before. I saw this was an idea. Yeah. And I knew that it would force the king away. So, yeah. I mean, it was there on the board to be read, but we are a little different in rating, aren't we? Okay, I'm inclined to play this and push the king onto one side of the board or the other. I might also want to get my rook onto the 7th rank at some point and defend my backwards pawns. But I do also need an idea of how to win this game. You've also got a free pawn there. I'm going to take the free, but I've got to, haven't I? Absolutely got to. Has he got this? That I'm not too worried about that, because I can come back here. And now he can't get onto 7th. And I have 2 pawns at my mercy. Also hoping that the time pressure is going to play a little part in this. Also got that. That forces the king to one side. I'd love to sweep up 1 or 2 pawns. That would make me a lot more comfortable. Okay, let's have this one. I'm now attacking that and that, but that one's defended, so he's probably going to push the A pawn. And now I'm actually up a pawn. I could even do this, force the king to one side, bring my rook back maybe, keeps the king out of my special area. Is that even a thought? No. This, you can defend with a rook there. See the value now of having your king centralised. Right, I'm now guarding the rook from coming to these squares. Well, actually. Okay, so he's going to come around the back. So I can grab this. If I do, he goes here. I push on. He goes there. I drop my rook. Ooh, no, I can't. Okay. Well, I have to grab the pawn anyway. I've got this, and then if he attacks this pawn, I can move my rook here. He's got 2 ways to attack it, right? If there's now I have rook here to defend the pawn, and I'm happy. And now my A pawn can actually dance all the way up the board, because now he's going to have to bring his rook back to cover this. But I may try and put my king in the corner to thwart those ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what we need. Also got this with a fork on king and pawn, which it also looks winning. But then if I take the pawn, I dump this one, so I don't want to do that either. Another idea is to try and bring the king in and trap the rook, but that's not going to happen because he just plays this and gets rid. Okay. I think A5 is crucial. I just have to put the pressure on. Sometimes the right thing to do is simply to start shoving pawns up the board and put the pressure on your opponent. I'm going to come here. Not entirely convinced of that, but at least my rook's guarding these, so that's all safe. And in fact, I do have coordination. Everything is actually protected right now, obviously apart from the king and the rook. But all my pawns are safe for the time being, and now I'm suddenly up. Remember, we have an increment. It can make all the difference. And his king can't come this way. What's he trying to do now? He wants to do this, does he? That's no good. That doesn't concern me. I can dodge out the way. This pawn's still safe. Now he can't get across to the A file. And every time this pawn gets to take another step forwards, rings the bells of doom. Now he wants to go. Now I get to go here. Now he's going to come back here. Then I get to come here. Now he's out of checks. And whatever happens now, Andy can start to turn the screw. Oh, that's a fork. Oh, well spotted. Oh, that was very, very well done. That was very well done. Okay, I'm going to give check. So Andy has unfortunately succumbed. Okay, that's fine. I'll just win the pawn now. Can't go there. He's got 4 moves, none of which is ideal. I'm just going to come back and continue to defend Gary. And then it is in Harry that we must put our hope. He now wants to put his king here. So does this work? There? You can't get there or there. He's got to move away, yeah. And then I think simply rook here, push these guys up, nudge them, because the king can't get over there in time. There is quite a difference between 1200 endgames and 1600 endgames. Oh, he's moved it. Okay. Didn't notice that. Okay, now check. And now all I need to push is g5, h4. Defended now by the rook. And after h4, this pawn will be defended as well. This pawn can't do anything. Might end up putting my king here, king here. You might just throw in a check, but I think I should have this now. But I'm counting my lucky stars because Ash played well and had me on the ropes. And you can't ever let up. So I think actually his pawn structure came back to bite him a little bit, didn't it? Oh, that pawn's now hanging. Nothing wrong with h4 there. Pawn's still hanging. Huh? He's going to do that. Okay, I'm going to grab this. I only need 1 to convert. I'm not concerned too much there. I can always bring my rook back here. And he's going to have to sack his rook to win a pawn. He'll sack the trade of rooks. And then the B pawn gets to romp home to victory. Okay, see here, he can't take. He can't take the pawn, he can't take. He needed his king next to the pawn first, so he needed to get his king like here, and then try and capture, but whatever he does now, I think it's just losing. Now the king can't enter that part of the board because of my rook, and whatever his rook does, I can just slide one of my pawns forward, then use my rook to defend the rearmost, and he just hasn't got time. h3. Just h2 now. Don't even need that one. Rook here, g3 defends, then push g2, and he can't keep both out. So he had me on the ropes for sure, a piece up, but some devilish tactics definitely helped out there. And I'll just counter-attack the rook now. And then this, and there's nothing to be done. It is all over. Finito, benito, halas, it's finished. All right, and what do? We promote and get a queen. And then queen here. Whatever happens, because he's got to go this way. Okay, good game that. Well played. So there's not much to comment on, really, is there, guys? You know, Ash did really well. He spotted the weaknesses that I left. He jumped on them, and it was only down to a little bit more advanced tactics. So let's go back to that point in the game. I can't quite remember where we were. Somewhere around here. Yeah. Okay. So from here, you'll remember, and I said it on the when we were playing live. I said, if this, I can take, king takes, and this, because that leaves the king as the only defender of the knight. Okay, and with rook here, and I know that my king is in opposition to his king can't go this way. If the rook's here, he can't stay on the 5th rank, so therefore he must go back to here, and he loses the knight. So that was my calculation. And there's only one way to do it. You say, okay, well, if this, am I worried about that? Well, then, no, because I saw down king takes, obviously, and then this, rook's defended, so I haven't got to worry about this move, and I knew that the king would have to retreat. This is a very classic kind of checkmating pattern, with king in opposition, you know, rook on the back rank. If this is the side of the board, it's a checkmate. Okay, so you know that the only retreat for this king would be that away. And so I knew this was it. And now we're in a situation where, yeah, I'm a pawn down, but look at my pawns. This is the key thing. I have 2 pawn islands. That means that drop my rook to here, and I can defend all my pawns with 1 rook. Right? White, on the other hand, 4 pawn islands. Now, it might be worth going back through the whole game and seeing how white ended up with such scrappy pawns. But that is definitely something that is in my game now that I like to do. It's not a winning thing, but as you can see here, you know, my opponent went into the ending with a 1 pawn advantage, but it wasn't enough. Simply wasn't enough. So Ash, thank you very much, my friend, for the game. That was very, very good indeed, and I enjoyed it. I'm very relieved that I was able to rescue it in the end, because quite honestly, from the opening part, I didn't deserve to. So, well done, Ash. I hope it's been useful for everyone else. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.